Before Stanley Kubrick created cinema's most enigmatic masterpiece, 2001: A Space Odyssey was considered an impossible film to make. The cast has finally revealed secrets that will transform your understanding of this groundbreaking odyssey. Prepare to discover the untold story behind the most mysterious and influential science fiction film ever created. The film that defied every Hollywood rule. What most fans don't realize is that 2001: A Space Odyssey was rejected by every major studio executive who read the script because they couldn't understand what Stanley Kubrick was trying to create. The film had no traditional narrative structure, minimal dialogue, and concepts that seemed impossible to visualize in 1968. Keir Dullea revealed years later that even the cast didn't fully comprehend Kubrick's vision during production. Stanley would describe these abstract concepts about human evolution and artificial intelligence, but we had no reference point for what he was imagining, Dullea explained. We were making a film unlike anything that had ever been attempted. Arthur C. Clarke, who co-wrote the screenplay with Kubrick, admitted that studios were baffled by the project's scope. Executives kept asking where the aliens were, where the action sequences were, Clarke noted. They wanted Star Wars, but Stanley was creating something closer to visual philosophy. The $10.5 million budget was enormous for 1968, and MGM executives watched nervously as Kubrick spent months perfecting single shots that lasted mere seconds on screen. The centrifuge that became a character. The rotating Discovery spaceship wasn't just a set piece. It was a 38-foot diameter Ferris wheel that actually rotated, creating one of cinema's most innovative and dangerous filming environments. What the cast revealed about working inside this mechanical marvel shows how Kubrick's obsession with realism nearly killed his actors. Gary Lockwood disclosed the terrifying reality of filming inside the centrifuge. We were actually running around the inside of this giant hamster wheel while cameras were bolted to the structure. If you lost your footing, you could be seriously injured. The centrifuge rotated at 3 miles per hour, requiring perfect timing and coordination. Keir Dullea revealed that Kubrick refused to use traditional special effects for these sequences. Stanley wanted the artificial gravity to look completely real because he knew audiences would instinctively sense if it was fake. The actors had to perform complex scenes while the entire set rotated around them. The psychological impact was profound. After hours inside that spinning chamber, you'd step out, and the real world felt wrong, Lockwood noted. It gave us a genuine sense of disconnection from Earth that enhanced our performances as isolated astronauts. HAL 9000, the voice that terrified Hollywood. The most chilling performance in 2001 came from an actor who never appeared on screen. Douglas Rain's portrayal of HAL 9000 created cinema's most memorable artificial intelligence. But what the cast revealed about Rain's preparation and Kubrick's direction shows how this electronic character became more human than the human characters. Keir Dullea disclosed that Rain recorded Hal's dialogue in complete isolation from the rest of the cast. Stanley wanted Hal's voice to feel detached from human emotion, so Douglas never interacted with us during filming. We only heard Hal's voice during post-production. This separation created an authentically alien quality to their interactions. Gary Lockwood revealed that Kubrick made Rain record each line dozens of times with subtle variations. Stanley was obsessed with finding the perfect balance between human intelligence and machine coldness. Douglas would spend hours adjusting the inflection of single words. The most disturbing aspect was Rain's preparation method. I studied the speech patterns of actual computer programmers and engineers, Rain later admitted. Hal speaks like someone who understands human emotion intellectually, but has never felt it. This approach created the unsettling impression of intelligence without empathy that made HAL genuinely terrifying. The monolith's secret meaning. The black monolith that appears throughout 2001 isn't just a mysterious alien artifact. It's a carefully designed symbol that represents humanity's relationship with technology and transcendence. What Arthur C. Clarke and the cast revealed about the monolith's deeper significance transforms how we understand the film's central message. Clarke disclosed that the monolith's proportions weren't arbitrary. The dimensions are in the ratio 1:9, which represents the first three square numbers. It's a mathematical progression that suggests intelligence and purpose. This geometric precision made the monolith feel both alien and somehow familiar. Keir Dullea revealed that Kubrick instructed the cast to react to the monolith as if it were alive. Stanley told us to treat it like a character, not a prop. He wanted our fear and awe to feel genuine. The monolith's imposing presence on set genuinely intimidated the actors. The monolith's black surface was achieved using a front projection technique that made it appear perfectly smooth and light-absorbing. It looked like a hole in reality, noted Gary Lockwood. Staring at it felt like looking into the void itself, which was exactly what Stanley intended. The Stargate sequence that broke new ground. The psychedelic Stargate sequence that concludes Dave Bowman's journey wasn't created with computer graphics. It was achieved through revolutionary practical effects that took Kubrick and his team over a year to perfect. What the cast revealed about filming this mind-bending sequence shows how Kubrick pushed cinema technology beyond its limits. Keir Dullea disclosed that his reaction shots during the Stargate sequence were filmed against constantly changing colored lights. Stanley had these massive panels of shifting colors that would strobe and pulse for hours. After a while, you genuinely felt like you were having some kind of cosmic experience. The corridor of lights effect was created using a technique called slit-scan photography, where artwork was photographed through a narrow slit while the camera moved. Douglas Trumbull, the effects supervisor, revealed that each frame took hours to expose. We were essentially painting with light and time, creating imagery that had never been seen before. Kubrick's obsession with the sequence's impact was legendary. Stanley would test different versions on audiences and measure their physiological responses, Dullea noted. He wanted to create an actual altered state of consciousness through pure cinema. The resulting sequence remains one of film's most powerful sensory experiences. The apes that started everything. The Dawn of Man sequence that opens 2001 featured real actors in groundbreaking ape costumes. But what the cast revealed about this challenging production shows how Kubrick's perfectionism created both breakthrough cinema and near-impossible working conditions. The actors portraying early humans spent months studying primate behavior at zoos and research facilities. Stanley wanted authentic ape movements, not human actors pretending to be apes, revealed Dan Richter, who played the lead ape man. We had to unlearn human body language and discover how our earliest ancestors might have moved. The bone-throwing scene that represents humanity's first tool use required hundreds of takes. Stanley filmed that bone toss over and over, trying to capture the perfect arc, Richter noted. The moment had to feel like genuine discovery, not choreographed action. The costumes themselves were revolutionary, but torturous. The ape suits were incredibly hot and restrictive, Richter admitted. We could only wear them for short periods, but Stanley's vision required us to inhabit these characters completely. The dedication paid off, creating one of cinema's most convincing portrayals of human evolution. The music that became eternal. What most fans don't know is that 2001's iconic classical music score wasn't Kubrick's original plan. The director commissioned a complete original soundtrack from composer Alex North, then abandoned it entirely in favor of existing classical pieces, creating one of cinema's most controversial musical decisions. Keir Dullea revealed the shock of discovering North's score had been discarded. Alex had written this beautiful, complex soundtrack, but Stanley decided it was too conventional. He wanted music that already felt timeless and eternal. The use of Also Sprach Zarathustra for the monolith scenes wasn't accidental. Stanley chose that piece because it represents humanity reaching toward the divine, noted Gary Lockwood. The music doesn't just accompany the action, it becomes part of the monolith's power. The Blue Danube waltz during the space station docking sequence created an unprecedented sense of grace in space travel. Stanley wanted to show that space technology could be beautiful and elegant, not just functional, Dullea explained. This musical choice influenced how every subsequent film depicted space travel. The ending that divided audiences forever. The enigmatic hotel room sequence where Dave Bowman ages and transforms has puzzled audiences for over 5 decades, but what Keir Dullea revealed about filming this mysterious conclusion shows how Kubrick deliberately created an experience beyond conventional narrative understanding. Stanley told me that the hotel room represents humanity's next stage of evolution, Dullea disclosed. The aliens have created this environment based on human memories and expectations, but it's fundamentally beyond our comprehension. The room's 18th century French decor was chosen to represent human civilization at its peak. The aging makeup process took hours each day, but Kubrick insisted on practical effects rather than camera tricks. Stanley wanted the physical transformation to feel real and inevitable, Dullea noted. Each stage of aging had to be performed, not just achieved through editing. The final transformation into the Star Child was filmed using a specially constructed fetus prop and revolutionary lighting techniques. The rebirth represents humanity transcending its physical limitations, Dullea explained. Kubrick intentionally left the ending open to interpretation, creating a conclusion that functions more like poetry than traditional storytelling, ensuring decades of debate and analysis. The legacy that transcended cinema. 56 years after its release, 2001, A Space Odyssey's influence extends far beyond filmmaking into space exploration, artificial intelligence development, and philosophical discourse about humanity's cosmic significance. The cast's reflections on this cultural impact reveal how Kubrick's vision became prophetic blueprint for technological advancement. Keir Dullea noted the film's influence on actual space technology. NASA engineers have told me they were inspired by our spacecraft designs. The practical, functional aesthetic influenced real space station development. The film's realistic portrayal of space travel set new standards for scientific accuracy in cinema. Arthur C. Clarke observed the film's impact on AI development. Computer scientists reference HAL when discussing artificial intelligence ethics. Kubrick's vision of AI consciousness has become a touchstone for contemporary technology debates. The film's philosophical themes continue influencing discussions about human evolution and cosmic purpose. Stanley created a meditation on humanity's place in the universe that feels more relevant as we advance technologically, Dullea reflected. Gary Lockwood emphasized the film's timeless appeal. 2001 doesn't feel dated because it addresses eternal questions about intelligence, consciousness, and transcendence. These themes remain as mysterious and compelling today as they were in 1968. 2001, A Space Odyssey remains cinema's most ambitious and mysterious achievement, demonstrating how visionary filmmaking can transcend entertainment to become genuine art. The cast's revelations show how Kubrick's obsessive perfectionism and revolutionary techniques created an experience that continues challenging and inspiring audiences decades later. Watch the film again with appreciation for the groundbreaking practical effects, philosophical depth, and prophetic vision that influenced both cinema and technology. Notice how Kubrick's attention to scientific detail and symbolic meaning creates layers of interpretation that reward multiple viewings. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into cinema's greatest masterpieces. Hit that notification bell so you never miss our latest uploads, and let us know in the comments what you think the monolith truly represents. The mystery continues.